Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is the live game review. Everton 1, Manchester United 3 on Saturday afternoon. Another awful defeat for Everton Football Club. Another awful performance really for the majority of the game. We are joined by Tom T-Logic 1991 as per usual to sit down and talk about the game in all of its detail. Another shocker really, wasn't it, mate? Another defeat. Obviously 3 on the bounce now going into the international break. First time Carlo Ancelotti's lost 3 games on the bounce for 14 years. I think he won the Champions League that year. So it's, again, maybe a little bit of a smack in the face for Carlo as well, but another quite poor performance, certainly, after the first sort of 15-20 minutes where we looked, relatively decent as soon as Manchester United equalised, which was due to poor defensive play. We sort of just fell to bits, didn't we, mate? It was another shocker.
Yeah, just another one to bite the dust, really, innit? Not really competitive, never in it. I thought poor again. The worrying thing about this is that they sort of shown a bit of fight and then they just completely fell apart, didn't they? Yeah. Lads who, I think Holgate coming back was a little bit too premature. I thought that was a big decision by the manager, even though Mina has been blowing hot and cold, but you sort of got to realise then you're putting Michael Keane out of sorts when you're switching him over to the right-hand side, and Coleman coming back was a good thing, but didn't really think Coleman done much. But the big one was James Rodriguez, weren't he? He just could not get our best creative player in the game.
Yeah, and we obviously come off towards the back end of the game, signalled that he had an injury, which is quite similar to a couple of weeks ago against Southampton. Obviously missed the Newcastle game through injury. Southampton, the last 20 minutes he was signalling to come off, but obviously we were down to 10 men and had used all 3 subs, so that wasn't possible. Again, Carlo said, didn't he, in his pre-game press conference about James, look, he says he's 100%. I don't believe he's 100%, but even at 50% he's playing, and you do sort of understand where Carlo's coming from a little bit, because ultimately nobody around the squad is probably in the same league as James Rodriguez in regards to creativity, certainly given the fact that we were already without Richarlison due to the suspension. So we'll talk about Mason Holgate and obviously the decision to start him in a little bit, but in terms of James, just while we're on the conversation, were you sort of, it's one of them, isn't it, really, that you look at when you're watching the game, and obviously when he's clearly not 100% fit and he's struggling, and you think, he shouldn't really be there, but then you'd also see it from Carlo's point of view, where you're like, well, if he sticks him on the bench, all you're going to get is people saying, well, he's fit enough to be on the bench, so why isn't he starting? And if you're then putting somebody else in to replace him who's clearly not good enough, it'd be a different situation, wouldn't it, if we had someone to come off the bench who you'd say, right, you can slot in there and do a decent job there and allow James a week off?
Yeah, see, at this very moment in time, Everton can't afford to have sort of not have James Rodriguez on the pitch at all. A 50% James Rodriguez is probably far better than what Andre Gomes or Sigurdsson bring to the club. So this is what Ancelotti's actually dealing with. It's like these squad players can't be trusted to fill James' role, so he's got to put him in. And listen, it only takes one moment for James Rodriguez, doesn't it? This is what I'm saying. This is why he's on the pitch, is to create moments. But the last 2, he's trying to push him. He's just, you can just tell he's so much off the pace. He doesn't really want to get involved, if that makes sense. Yeah. He doesn't really look up to it. He's clearly struggling with something. Yeah. You can tell that. You can tell the way he's playing. He looks discomfortable walking, running around the pitch. But I don't even really think Everton played to James Rodriguez's strengths the weekend. I thought we targeted Bernard a lot more, and Bernard was good in the first 20 minutes. He got a goal, really good finish. This is what I'm saying with the frustrating part about Bernard. He'll do that, and then you won't see that for another 20 games. Yeah. So, but I thought we were all right. But the main issue for me is the midfield. The midfield just look out of sorts. Yeah. I'm honestly clueless to know what's gone wrong since them winning the games. I mean, Alan looks like a man possessed, just running around like a headless chicken. He doesn't really know what his role is, and Decore in the other end is doing far too many roles, in my opinion. He's tracking back. He's got to get forward. He's trying to fill in for James Rodriguez's defensive work on the right hand side. He's just doing far too much. And listen, when he got in the box, I think twice, his legs looked dead. Yeah. So I think he got a lot of stick for missing the ball, for missing that strike to at least get it on target, and then he missed the ball completely. But the man's running around like a nutcase. So, and plus as well, the creative side of midfield with Gylfi Sigurdsson. Listen, I don't know how many times we've got to sit here and go on about Gylfi Sigurdsson and what he brings to this club. I mean, what else do you want? Like, I tweeted out while we watching it. We're beating a dead horse, aren't we? What's the point in even getting all up in arms about it? We just got to accept it, and hopefully in the summer that whole era of a player disappears from this goal and we can move forward.
Definitely I agree, and like you said, the midfield was a baffling one for me, because I think we all sort of understood that, you know, we've probably got, I'd like to say we've probably got a very strong starting 11 when everybody's fit, but realistically it's probably a strong 10, and then there's that other midfielder role that either Gylfi Sigurdsson fits or Andre Gomez fits, where you look at and you think, when everybody else is on fire, when everybody else is performing brilliantly, you can afford to have that type of player in there who's good on the ball, decent football. I've said this for numerous weeks. If you stood 25 metres away from him and watched him, you'd think, bloody hell, his close ball control is great. He can spring a ball. He's good with the ball at his feet. Put him under any pressure, absolutely capitulated. Make him run and sack a ball, absolutely capitulates. But you can afford to have one of those type of players when your side's playing well, because everybody else just sort of does their job and they just sit in there and do what they need to do. But when you're not playing well, those type of performances and those type of players, you know, it comes to light a lot more, doesn't it? And you start to look and realise, hang on, what are you actually bringing to this team? What are you bringing to this club? And you're spot on there about Alan and Decore. It's strange for me watching Alan and Decore over the last couple of weeks. Again, I don't want to sit here and beat the old, oh, well, he must be injured because, you know, they're not playing well and they were playing well, so it must be an injury. But Alan, again, did pull up in the game against Brighton, was taken off with an injury. Obviously, we had the international break, comeback against Liverpool, struggle for me in the Merseyside derby, completely off the pace, certainly in the first half. And again, Newcastle, Southampton, Manchester United, he's doing okay on the ball, but it's nowhere near the type of Alan performances we were seeing at the start of the season, where he's covering every blade of grass, he's getting about, he's throwing challenges in. I agree with Decore as well. He's trying to sort of occupy everything, and in doing that, he's running himself into the ground far too quickly. So, you know, look, the forward line, we know without Richarlison is going to be, you know, is going to struggle, because nobody fits in there like Richarlison does. Nobody has the work rate that Richarlison has, and nobody is as direct and creative as Richarlison is. When James is at 50%, 25%, whatever you want to call it, that also affects the forward line. And I've said it for a few weeks now, Dominic Calvert-Lewin is a very, very good striker. If you give him the service, he'll score goals. If you put balls into the box, he'll score goals. He's not the type of striker that's going to go and create chances for himself constantly. If there's no creativity for him, if nobody's putting balls in, if nobody's getting the ball to him, he's basically going to be absent. He'll work hard, he'll run round, he'll throw himself about, he'll get himself in good areas, but he's not going to go and pick the ball up and go and steamroll through 3 or 4 plays. He's just not that type of player. Not saying he never will be, because I didn't think he'd be as good as he is now 2 or 3 years ago, but he's not that type of player now. So we know the issues up front. Again, defensively, the centre-back partnership has been sort of hot and cold in terms of Yerry Mina. 1 week he's brilliant, the next week he's poor. Obviously Mason Holgate going in there, but the midfield is a real baffle one for me, because it's the same players playing in there, whether it be Sigurdsson or Gomez. It's still Alan, it's still Decore. But for some reason over the last couple of weeks, they just haven't been performing. And We'll talk about the starting 11 then, and then we'll go into the start of the game and how we started well, and then it all sort of fell to bits. What did you make of Carlo's starting 11? You mentioned there then that you were a little bit unsure about Mason starting, and I think that's fair enough because not. I don't think it's a case of, we spoke off camera just before, Tom. I don't think it's a case of him not being fit or not be. He may be fit as a fiddle. He might have done a 10-mile run 2 days before in training. It's about that match sharpness. He hasn't played a Premier League game or a game of football for that matter for 11, 12 weeks. The last time he featured was in a friendly. He hasn't played in the Premier League since the game against Bournemouth, last game of the season. So that match sharpness, you can be as fit as a fiddle, you can run as long as you can. If you haven't played in a Premier League game in that type of environment, you're going to struggle for as long as he hadn't. You're going to struggle. Obviously, he come in, again, maybe would have been better sticking with Yerry Mina, potentially Ben Godfrey put in there as well. Other than Mason, and as well as Mason, what did you make of the rest of the team then? Do you think that was the strongest team Carlo could have put out? Do you think with looking at Mason, he was sort of just thinking, I'll go for what I would usually put out if everybody was sort of fit and it was 100% other than obviously Richarlison?
Yeah, I mean, hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it? I mean, we could be sat here and saying, he should have played Mina, but
yeah.
If probably in probably all our eyes is that our best centre half is Mason Holgate, then why wouldn't you start him then? Yeah. The only issue with it in me is that Michael Keane has been sensational this start of the season. So I thought he could have really took it and maybe put Holgate on the right hand side and give him Coleman more experience next to him, and let Keane just play where he's been playing for the last 5 to 6 games. You know what I mean? I think Keane and Dean have looked very comfortable with each other on that left hand side, and his improvements and his in Michael Keane's passing has all come from that left hand side. He's been very, very good from it. Like the weekends we watched him and we see. His his passing was just completely off. I mean, on his long passes, he tried 13. He tried 13 attempts and only made 46% completion. I mean, his previous game on against Newcastle, he tried 6 attempts and 67%. Yeah. You know what I mean? Against Liverpool, his accuracy on long passes was 89%. So you can see it coming off. You know what I mean? Like his passing to the final third was similar, but it has dropped. His last 2 previous games were 73% and 75%. This game it was only 67%. So I thought his passing did get affected. And listen, when people have got to understand with defenders and centre halves, it's a partnership. Yeah. So you've got to trust and you've got to sort of have a bit of sixth sense what he's going to be doing. So when Holgate's sort of flapping at things, or he's not coming for things, or Keane's making a run to the near post to try and cover, he's assuming he's going to be there, because Mina probably would have been there. Yeah. So when he turns on and he's not there, it's all off. The imbalance of the whole defence is off. Yeah. But listen, they're going to get better. I just hope that Ancelotti switches them.
Yeah. No.
I want Holgate on the right hand side. I don't think he's right on that left. His left foot's not very good. He gets caught. He can't on the turn. He can't turn out. Yeah. So I'd much rather him being on the right hand side. But yeah, that for me, for the starting 11, maybe me. And I was quite surprised that you'll probably get onto it because with Anthony Gordon.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I see a lot of people on Twitter talking about saying, why isn't he there? He should be starting. Listen, we're going to get to a point where he's going to get overhyped, and he's going to come into a point where there's going to be so much expectation on the lads.
It'll fall to bits.
We've seen it so many times. Yeah. Everyone's not a Wayne Rooney. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? There's more Leon Osmonds than Wayne Rooneys. So we've got to be patient with the lads. Yeah. There's obviously something that Ancelotti does not trust.
Yeah.
So we've got to trust what Ancelotti sees. But I don't know, maybe a Wobie.
Yeah.
Maybe a Wobie, but listen, you're clutching at straws, aren't you?
That's it. And you do have to sort of, again, I look at the starting 11 and I think, that I thought that was probably the best 11 Carlo could have put out. Again, the left-hand side in replace of Richarlison, like you said, you've got Bernard, I know Bernard scored, and we'll get onto it in a second. You've got Bernard, you've got Iwobi, you've got Sigurdsson, who's played over that side before, and you sort of just look at them and go, well, no matter who you pick, it's a losing battle, really, because you're going to be able to pick holes in any of the games. So, but everybody else other than that position, I thought was the strongest side we could have put out. Maybe, Mason obviously coming out because he's not got the match sharpness, but I still understood it because he is our best centre-half. And like you said, hindsight is a very wonderful thing, and if we'd have been sitting here, let's say the scoreline had been the other way round and Everton had beat Manchester United 3-0 and Mason had had a solid game, obviously it'd be different. If we'd have been sitting here and Yerry Mina had been in there and we'd have lost 3-1, we'd probably be saying, why didn't he put Mason Holgate in there? If he's on the bench, if he's fit, why isn't he playing? He's our best centre-half. I just want to talk briefly off topic for a little bit before we get into talking about the game and, obviously the way we started and stuff. Defensively, this is a real head scratcher for me this season, Tom, because you look at, like you mentioned, Michael Keane, and he's been absolutely fantastic so far this season. He's been fantastic for a long time, to be fair. So, come back obviously after the lockdown, and he was playing really, really well. Got a new contract. We know Yerry Mina's been hot and cold. Obviously, Mason Holgate towards the back end of last season was fantastic as well. Luca Dean, has played well. James Coleman's done well for the majority of the season. But yet we're still sitting here and we're still conceding a lot of goals. It feels like with Everton that you need to score 3 to win a game because we're almost guaranteed to concede 2. And that is a head scratcher for me, because it's not like we're sitting here every week, even when we were winning, saying, the defence was a shambles there. It's usually just, it was a stupid goal we conceded there, a stupid goal we conceded there, mistake by Pickford or mistake by Mina, whatever. But it's sort of becoming an issue that we need to address, isn't it, at the moment? We're conceding a lot of goals. Again, the 2 goals we conceded on Saturday, the space between both centre-halves was absolutely, it was schoolboy. In Sunday League football, you wouldn't see that much space being left, and I do think that partly was because, obviously, of Mason Holgate coming back and not being as sharp, and maybe Michael Keane thought that he'd be closer to him, and he went for the ball, and Mason was trying to attack Martial, whatever. It's getting to a point now where we're sort of looking at Everton's defence and thinking, well, right, okay, Luca Dean might play well individually in a game, same with James Coleman, Michael Keane's playing well, but we're still conceding goals every week.
Yeah, I think. Listen, I think more so with the defence. I think it's more so the midfield.
Yeah.
I think we get cut up far too easily. I think, like you say, the last 2 clean sheet we had was in the first game against Tottenham, and then the second game against Salford. But in that first game, I thought Alan had a specific role to just go break play up in the final third. He's starting to break away from that, which is probably from the manager. He's starting to go chase players and go pressure, which I don't think that should be him. I think Sigurdsson and Decore should go do that and let him sit, let him protect Michael Keane and Holgate, because there was far too many times where Alan would break and they'd do a little 1-2 and they'd be away. And then once you've got Martial, Rashford running at your back line, it only seems like one thing's going to happen, doesn't it? And it's danger. So, but I think it's midfield. Listen, Fernandes ran in and not one midfielder, Trachtenbach. Not one midfield. Listen, obviously you can say Holgate should have seen it because Holgate was marking no one, but your midfield's got to take some responsibility there and track players.
Yeah.
You don't just let a player go and that's it. Then it's someone else's. No, it starts from the midfield. Your defensive work is the midfield, and if once that midfield gets broken down and it's too early to bypass, like we've seen in the past, then you're gonna concede far too many goals. So I think going forward, I think he needs to shore up that midfield. Yeah. I think the big thing with Decore is that he's doing far too much for James Rodriguez defensively. So what you do, in my opinion, is you bring James Rodriguez next to Calvert-Lewin. Yeah. Because I'm not being funny. I mean, Sigurdsson's there. He never registered one pass to Calvert-Lewin the weekend. That to me is nuts. Yeah. You create out of the 3 of them. That's your creative play, and he's not passing to your striker. How does that work? Honestly, it boggles the mind, doesn't it? But that's actual fact. And I couldn't believe when I seen that stat. So a reshape, it's just got to be a reshape. And when Richarlison comes out, he's got to find a way where the other our other important players start affecting the game more. Maybe going into like a, I was thinking this the other day, maybe like a 3-5-2, and put three at the back with Keane, Godfrey, Holgate, Keane, Godfrey, Mina. You know, you've got enough options there where we can get our better players in, like Luca Dean. Once he's going forward, he's brilliant.
Yeah.
You've seen Seamus Coleman this year, far better going forward. So it allows them to get more involved in the game. And then you put someone next to Calvert-Lewin, and he so desperately needs it. Like you mentioned, very good points. He's not going to go, like, this has always been my issue with Calvert-Lewin, and he's not going to go and take the team on his back and go carry us up the field. He's just not going to do it. So we need our other players to make him better, because he's going to be there. He knows the right positions to be in. So I think James Rodriguez getting closer to Calvert-Lewin and sort of trying creating this partnership, that will be a better thing going forward. Because listen, you can't all depend on one player.
Yeah, spot on.
It just can't happen.
Spot on. Completely agree. Wayne says we have no pace without Richie, and the right back position is an issue. Wayne says not just Gylfi, Gomez and Iwobi as well. And Wayne also says bring Holgate in for that game out of position. I thought wasn't the best idea. Well, we'll talk more about the defence in a little while, but let's talk about the way we started the game, because I thought we actually started quite well. The tactics I thought were interesting for me, because we appeared to sort of just allow Manchester United to have a little bit of the ball, and then we sort of fell back into this nice defensive shape where it was very hard for them to break us down, and then we hit them going on the counter-attack. And that was something that I felt flipped in the game, is that the longer the game went on, the more of the ball we saw, the better of a shape they got, and the more they countered us. But that's how we started, and we did start well, like I said, defensively. You know, we kept a good shape. Anything that come in, we dealt with, rather easily. And then, of course, we got the first goal. Good lump up from Jordan Pickford. It's headed down by Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Goes to Bernard on a decent, a tight angle. He gets himself in the middle, and it's a good shot, and it's a good goal. And like you mentioned then, Tom, the problem is with Bernard is he doesn't do that, constantly. He doesn't do that constantly. There's not enough consistency there. But I also don't think Bernard tries that enough. I don't think he's that direct enough. I think 9 times out of 10 in that situation, he's looking for somebody behind him, or he's looking for somebody across from him, instead of just going, you know what, I'm going to get my head down, I'm going to get to the, just outside the box in a good area, and I'm going to have a shot and see where it goes. But we got 1-0 up, and we're looking really, really positive, and you're thinking, right, okay, if that's the tactic, if that's how we're playing, then that's working. Allow them the ball, fit into a nice shape, don't let them get through, stay strong, and then hit them on the counter and go again, and carry on doing that. Carry on having Bernard and Dominic Calvert-Lewin working off each other. There was a couple of nice bits of play as well. I thought Bernard started the game well. Nice combinations with Luca Dean. On a couple of occasions, Dean it smacked the post as well on an occasion. I think that was when it went 1-1 to potentially put us back up in front. But it really was a 15-20 minute spell, wasn't it, at the start of the game, where we looked, I'd say we looked comfortable, and we looked like, right, okay, we've got an idea, we know how to go out, we know how to win this game. And then it all sort of just flipped once we conceded their first goal. Like I said, for me, defensively, it's really poor. I agree with what you said. Responsibility is a big word in football, and I just don't think, and I think this has been a problem with Everton for a long time, I don't think there's enough players who take responsibility. I don't think there's enough players who go, you know what, I don't care if I'm going to be massively out of position, that lad's just ran past me and nobody's seen him run past me, so I'm going to go and sack him. Because ultimately, if it goes in the back of the net, then I'm responsible because I've seen it. If I tackle him and I'm miles out of position, then I can say, well, nobody else saw him and I had to make the challenge. And I think that's a big word. But it went to 1-1, and for me, biggest sort of problem for Everton in this game was we simply allowed Manchester United's most creative player in Bruno Fernandes to just do what he wanted. It's like we sort of felt like, you know what, we'll have a little look at every other Man United player, but Bruno, you can just go and do what you like. And you can't do that for a player of his quality. I don't like him. I think he's snide. I think he probably should have been sent off. But he's a very, very good player. And we just simply allowed him to create what he wanted to. And if we'd have nullified Bruno Fernandes and maybe marked him a little bit or give him a couple of kicks like he was doing to our players, then you nullify 90% of Manchester United's attack for me. They're quite similar to us, I feel, like they've got a lot of good players going forward, but other than Marcus Rashford on occasion, they haven't got many players that'll take the game up front and go out and beat 6 or 7 men and put it in the back of the net. They rely on that creativity from Bruno Fernandes, and when you allow him that much time, when you allow him that much space and allow him to do what he wants to do, he's bound to hurt you. And I don't know if you agree, Tom, but for me that was our biggest, or certainly one of our biggest issues in terms of, not what we done specifically, was we just allowed them to, give him the ball and we allowed him to do what he wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, he sort of had a free roll, didn't he, Fernandes? You could see him, he was sort of going out wide, sitting on Coleman sometimes, then he was coming in and he'd appear in the midfield. He basically has a free roll, but just going back to like the first 20 minutes, I thought we started very well. I thought we were compact, thought we were very solid, I thought we were very assured on the ball, because when we broke, I thought we were very dangerous, and it showed. We scored. Yeah. But I think we let them get back into the side, into the game, and then we sort of just disappeared from our tactics. We sort of went from this sitting back, letting them have the ball, because at the end of the day, you let Manchester United go have the ball, they're not very creative. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's system is basically counter-attack. That's basically it. That's what they do. So what they done, they just reversed it on us, and then we played into that. We sort of started chasing the ball, which it didn't really make sense. And I thought we weren't. The whole structure just started falling apart. You've seen Decore running out. You've seen Allen chasing. But I think we've seen that at Southampton. The midfield just didn't know what to do with themselves, and I don't know whether it's like a communication thing between them, between Allen and Decore and Sigurdsson, but there's no talking. There's no like sort of leader on that midfield where he's like, get there, go there. You know what I mean? There's no organisation from any of them. It's just silence. I mean, I don't know whether you've seen the I think it was Jordan Henderson clip about him against Atalanta. Did you see that? Did you see that? Where it was basically just a microphone, just silent, no one's in the crowd, isn't it? Yeah. And it was just him, and all you heard was him. It was just him. Screaming. He was just screaming, telling people, "Well done, all this." Yeah. What an actual like centre midfielder should be doing. I'd love to get the mics on Goodson the weekend, because I bet you never heard Sigurdsson or anyone speaking. Alan's good. You can tell he's trying, but does he speak enough like English to sort of get his point across?
And he's new to the team as well, isn't he? Same with the core, they're new in. They're not going to want to just start screaming about. But that, like you mentioned, it's the Sigurdssons, it's the Gomez's when they're in there who should be screaming orders, and
it's the lads who've been the senior players.
Yeah,
they don't take response. They've never since Mashiri. Since Mashiri's been here, can anyone name me a player from at Everton who's took responsibility?
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, you couldn't pick one. You could not pick one. Ashley Williams was meant to come in as a captain. Absolute no responsibility. Yeah. Davy Klassen was meant to come in Ajax captain. Absolute.
Yeah.
Let's put it in mad terms. Wet ass.
Yeah.
So he was disappeared. Gylfi Sigurdsson, no show. Just an absolute. Listen, you can talk about orchestrators, but he's an orchestrator, because all he does is point.
Yeah.
That's all he seems to do. He does not create space. He does not want the ball. If you're going to play a player like that who does not want the ball, what is the point in him?
Yeah.
You know, Decore's not that player that's going to pick the ball up from the centre halves and play an absolute worldie pass. He's just not that type of player. He's a box-to-box athletic player who is there to put pressure on teams, to give us legs. Yeah. Same with Allen. We've just got no one in that midfield who's sort of going to take the responsibility on. Like, we've seen Villa. Look at Villa with Barkley and Grealish. They're sensational, aren't they? They take responsibility. They take the ball and the responsibility of getting them up the pitch.
Yeah. It's a very good point, though. It's a very good point.
We have got no one who will take responsibility and drag us up that pitch.
Yeah.
There's no one whatsoever. I mean, we have Barkley, and that's it since then. There's no midfielder in our sides who can take that ball from our half and drag us up to their half and get us a foul and take pressure up. There's no one. There's no one whatsoever. I mean, if I just get it up there quickly, I'm pretty sure, even looking at dribbles, like you'd assume that we've got good dribblers in the team. We've got no one. I mean, Sigurdsson created. Let's just see. Sorry, yeah, he attempted one dribble, one
One
and he
for
did,
the
and
creative player.
he weren't successful at it. Here's another one, and here's to my point. How many, where we say about ball carrying, how many progressive runs in the last 3 games do you think Sigurdsson's made? Just have a guess. Go on. Sorry, I'll give you one. Just Everton games. 1, 2, 3. Last 4 games. Games from the derby till now. How many progressive runs?
5.
None.
0. None.
0. Yeah, 0.
See, it's criminal, isn't it? It's criminal, and then we brought in 3.
0.
it is. It's shocking. It is. It takes your breath. And we brought in 3 midfield. I know we brought in Godfrey and Olsen as well, but we brought in 3 midfielders in the summer, or 3 players that we're going to come in and change this side. And to be fair to them, they haven't. And James Rodriguez, we were never under any illusion. He's not the type of player that's going to run round and sprint all game, because he doesn't need to. He's got that quality where he can stand on one spot and he can control a game that way. But the reality of the situation is he's not going to be able to do that in every single game. It'll work in some games, it won't work in others. Alan, again, has come in and he's got a specific job, and usually he's very good at it. Whatever the issue is at the moment, we don't know. Same with Decore, but we sort of, again, we were left with an issue in the summer of bringing in somebody that would take the place of a Sigurdsson or a Gomez who just don't do enough in the middle, and we're still sort of sitting here saying, okay, we've brought in the 2 other midfielders who sit next to them, which was also a big issue, to be fair, and we've brought in the creativity in the front 3 to go with Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison, and that's why Dominic Calvert-Lewin's on such good form. But we've still got that player who, whether it be Sigurdsson or Gomez, who's seen as the attacking midfielder of the 3, and they just, like you said, no progressive runs in 4 games for Sigurdsson. I'd dread to see Gomez's stats. He's probably in the minuses. So we do need a player.
Just take quick on Gomez's progressive runs since Tottenham. So Tottenham, West Brom, Palace, Liverpool, Newcastle he's played in. He has done 1, 2, 3.
3.
So out of our creative midfielders who are meant to get us up this pitch or create something in the final third, out of the 2 of them, they've ran 3 times with the ball progressively. Now that to me is absolute criminal.
Yeah.
James Rodriguez is not in the side to start running, break lines and get... What James Rodriguez is there for is to find space in between lines and then find Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin with runs. Yeah. That is his best spot, and he's brilliant at it. He's probably the best in the world to create space. Yeah. He doesn't need... He could be on a Zimmer frame and still find space. Yeah. That's how good he is. This is what I'm saying. If you get a 3 of Decore, Allen and James Rodriguez, it'll be far better. Yeah. Put a Wobie on the right. Just get legs there. Just get something.
Yeah. No, I agree completely, because with that Sigurdsson and Gomez, it's just not working at the moment. And when we're playing well, then you can probably afford to have one of those players in there because it's not really focused on them. But when we're not playing well, we need an awful lot more. And the reality of the situation is, I've said it a couple of times, we've spoke about it, Everton have got too many players at the moment in this squad who you look at and you probably think on the face of things, you're alright footballer, you're good with the ball at your feet, you've got good close control, you're strong, you can pass a ball decent. But then you really, at the end of the season, you look at the stats on a piece of paper and you go, what have you actually done? What have you brought to this team? What, how many goals? None. How many assists? None. You know, Andre Gomes has been at Everton for 3 years now, and I know he's had a big injury, and I understand that he might have fitness issues, and there might be some psychological, problems there, that, subconscious psychological problems that he may need to sort of tap into in order to get back to the player that he was. But 1 goal and 1 assist I think he's had in his time at Everton Football Club, and he's played an awful lot of games in that position. It's not good enough. Same with Gylfi Sigurdsson, 1 shot on target he's had of note recently, and he's playing, consistently in the Premier League. No progressive runs for any midfielder. I don't care if you're a defensive midfielder, no progressive runs in that many games is dreadful. It's and it you know what it shows, Tom? It doesn't just show that he's not playing well or that he's not good enough. It shows that he doesn't want to, does he? He doesn't want the ball. He doesn't want to go forward. He doesn't want the responsibility, like we said. He doesn't want the involvement. And that's what you're seeing with this pointing. Everything for me with Gylfi Sigurdsson is keep me out the game. Just bypass me. And that's like, that is playing with 10 men. And sometimes you look and you think, you'd probably be better playing with 10 men.
Listen, I made the comparison on Twitter. Gylfi Sigurdsson is like an old boxer coming to the end of his career. He's just got no legs, and he's just got one very, very good punch that he can't pull the trigger on.
Yeah.
It's just simple as that.
Yeah.
That's what he is. He's got a brilliant shot on him, never tries it. I don't think he hit the bar against Southampton. Why not do that all the time? Why not just I think. Yeah. Well, he got an opportunity. He got an opportunity against United. I think it was in the first half, and Rodriguez laid it off to him, and he sort of just hesitated. Why? You've got a brilliant right foot on you. Just have a go.
Yeah.
Just chance it. Who cares if it goes over the bar? That's people, they're more worried about like these stats, and I know we all look at stats and all that, but at the end of the day, if your shots on target or that's all you want.
Yeah.
That's just simple as. Whether you look at it and you think Ancelotti's not playing the 3 of them right, because the way he's got it, he's got Allen at the bottom and then Decore and Sigurdsson, hasn't he, next to each other, and Sigurdsson hasn't got the legs to run 20 yards. No. So maybe you sort of put Allen and Decore in a 2, and then you push Sigurdsson right out the way and just leave him up there. Give him a little bit of defensive work just to drop in a little bit, but ultimately his job is to stay with at least 5 yards of Calvert-Lewin. Because I think Sigurdsson has got the capabilities to be creative in the final third. It's just he's never shown it.
Yeah.
So it's hard to like sort of back his corner and things like that. How many more opportunities are we going to give him?
Yeah.
Like it's like between Gomez and Sigurdsson, it's like either dying from a shotgun or dying from a knife, innit? Yeah. It's just
pick your poison.
Pick your poison. Yeah, just pick your poison.
That's it.
It's so. Do we start looking at the manager, or do we just say he's using the same old tools that the manager, and we just give him not a bypass, but sort of let's give him another year to get another set of players in, and then from next season, not from the start of next season, then that's where we seriously take issues with what Ancelotti's doing.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we all sort of knew when he come in, and certainly before the start of this season, that it was going to take a lot more than one transfer window, and let's write January off because A, Marcel Brands doesn't like January, and B, we don't usually do anything in January anyway. So you're probably looking at 2-3 years before he gets that squad that you look at and you think, right, these are Ancelotti's players. And I know there's a couple of players. Being an Ancelotti player isn't necessarily somebody that he's signed. Dominic Calvert-Lewin's an Ancelotti player because he's come out and spoke about how much he likes him. Richarlison is an Ancelotti player, but the fact of the matter is there's players in that squad now that aren't Ancelotti players, and it will take 2 or 3 transfer windows. Again, probably 4 or 5 if you're including January. Kevin Campbell, we spoke to Kevin Campbell last week, and he said 6 transfer windows before Carlo Ancelotti has got his squad with his players. I think he was including January there.
We can't do that no more.
I think he was including January, so that's 3 years.
We can't wait for that. That just can't. We can't wait for it. How long else do we wait for? Like, I thought, personally, I agree with Kev, because last season or year before, I looked at the team and you think that's going to take a 5-year project just to get them out.
Yeah.
But credit to Marcel Brands, we are literally 4 or 5 players away from getting them all out.
Yeah.
So that's credit to him, really. I think maybe next summer, like it all depends on if we get in Europe.
Yeah.
Highly unlikely, but if we do, just say that gives us a massive benefit going forward. But like I said to you before we come on, there's still Sigurdsson and Bernard. They've still got a year left on the contracts.
Yeah.
And it's who's going to take them. Maybe Gylfi gets a big contract from China or Saudi or somewhere.
Yeah.
But does he take it?
That's what I was going to say. It's whether he wants to play there, isn't it? That's the big question. You can put all these contracts on the plate. Gylfi might turn around and say, I want to stay in the Premier League. So
it's just, you're on a hard and nothing with these players. And listen, like you say, I think you mentioned before in one of the chats saying right back's an issue. And yeah, it is. Yeah. There's a few. That whole right side for me is just, it's non-existent.
Yeah. No, I agree completely. And look, Seamus has done a great job, but the reality with Seamus is he ain't going to be able to play 38 games in a season. He's shown already he's picked up an injury, and John Joe Kenny isn't good enough for me to come in. He's not good enough to fit in there. He doesn't do what Seamus Coleman does. He hasn't got the attacking threat defensively, positional wise. He's not good enough. But
yeah, sorry, just on your point there about Kenny, you know where we're talking about Sigurdsson and Gomez, aren't we?
Yeah.
And we're saying they're just not a Premier League midfielder. They might do it in Italy or Spain where it's a lot slower and build-up play and all things like that. But John Joe Kenny's not a right back in the Premier League. He just hasn't got the athleticism to get up and down that pitch. It's just the Premier League's evolved, and if you're going to be a modern day wing back in the Premier League, you've got to be like Reece James, who's got power, pace. Yeah. You can get into that final third, and like I say, hopefully maybe in January or maybe in the summer more so, they go and have a look at into Norwich again and go and get Max Aarons.
Yeah, good shout. To be fair, yeah, again I agree completely. You need a fullback with pace, with strength, and who can absolutely boss that line, and who also is creative and effective going forward. And Seamus Coleman was literally the first type of fullback that was like that, 5, 6, 7 years ago. But now, obviously, with his injuries and all of that sort of stuff, he'll still give it 110%, and he'll still be a leader in some ways, but he's not going to be able to have that consistency which you can sort of rely on. Johnny,
I think sorry mate, just take quick. I think Everton needs a right winger, don't they, who fits the profile of what Richarlison has.
Yeah.
So really, when you look at it, if you're sort of wanting to break it down and think, right, well, what are they after? Well, they're going to be after Premier League proven, aren't they? That's key. They have to look for pace. They're going to have to look at someone who would suit the team. So why not just go and try for Adama Traore?
Good shout. Probably cost us an absolute.
He's got 2 years left on his contract in the summer. He ultimately he's not start. He doesn't start for Wolves. He's ideal to what Everton wants, and I think he's that step away from becoming that elite player that every top team is watching.
Yeah,
it's just whether whoever pulls the trigger. Because listen, if you go and get him for 50 million, everyone was worried about what Richard. If you had a front three of Calvert-Lewin, Adama Traore, and Richarlison, I mean, you're turning a corner.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you'd
a fast corner as well.
But that's what you've got to have in a Premier League. You look at the top teams. Look what they've got: Raheem Sterling, Jesus. They've just bought Ferran Torres, another quick player. You got Arsenal, Lacazette, Aubameyang, speed. You got Liverpool, Mane, Salah. It's just speed. That's ultimately what the Premier League is.
Yeah, and then drop hammers into central midfield.
Yeah, just play. Well, if Adama Traore and Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin at their speed are running, there's only one man who can find them, and that's him.
Yeah, spot on. I completely agree. You know, look, I think we definitely do need a right sort of winger. You know, that is similar to Richarlison. I agree with that, and you know, he is at that level. Traore. We'll talk about Richarlison in a second, and his absence, which has become quite detrimental to the team. Johnny says, "What's up, Cam? Holgate should never have started over Mina. Sigurdsson needs to bounce his way out the team." Fair enough. Abigail says, "Gylfi and Delph passed it. Davis, Iwobi, Kenny, Besic, Balassi, Tossen not good enough. Bernard maybe stays, but he needs to produce more. I'd get Corona from Sporting." DG says, "Leon Bailey." Semi says, "Quite a state you're in when you get a single goal and it was from Bernard." Steve Smith says, "We lose because we surrender. Championship teams might not have the quality, but they know how to fight at the end. Was it Koeman's fault? Was it Silva's fault? Something is rotten somewhere." Fair enough. We can see the second goal, and we'll go back into the game. We can see the second goal again. It's a ball into the box. Marcus Rashford goes up for the header. Seen a little bit of criticism for Jordan Pickford. I think he's expecting Marcus Rashford to head it, and he doesn't head it. And it goes in at that far corner. And at that point, Tom, it was pretty much game, set and match. Without being negative and having a negative mentality, we sort of felt like we were never going to get back into that game. Until, of course, the last seconds of it, when that ball comes in and Doucouré just misses it. We spoke before about Doucouré doing a little bit too much and having too many roles. Do you think maybe if he wasn't doing that, he would have been a little bit sharper in that position, or do you just think the chance just bypassed him, and then obviously they went up the other end and made it 3, and that was it? It was game, set and match at that point, wasn't it?
Nah, he does a lot of running, and if you've went and ran more than 10 miles or 20 miles a game and then try and latch on to the end, his legs are just jelly. The legs are dead. There's no composure. Listen, if you watch it again, there's absolutely no composure on the thing. He's just trying to make contact. That's all he's hoping to do. And there was one previous before that, it dropped to him outside the box and he ballooned it up in the stands. Listen, he was pretty good for Watford, weren't he, in the box? He scored quite a few goals, and I think if maybe Ancelotti, he's probably looking at the sight of Doucouré, hoping to put him up towards with Calvert-Lewin, because he's the only really other danger really that could probably get in the box or give us some goals from midfield. So maybe look at that. But then again, who's going to be the water carrier? That's ultimately what he is at this moment in time. He's a box-to-box midfielder, and like we said, we've got no one to replace him. If Doucouré left that midfield, God help us. God help us, because there's no one there. I mean, I forgot the lad in the reserve that I really, really like. Is it Tyler Onyango? Yeah, I think he is the profile personified in Doucouré. He's brilliant. Well. Yeah, he's brilliant, that lad. But then again, you're looking at it, and even Gordon played well, but Gordon's not doing what he does in the reserves, and when he comes up to the big leagues, it's just that's it. Could Thingy do the same? I don't know, but the only thing that's going for Onyango is build. He's a big lad, especially for that age range. And maybe it's time to just try these lads. What have we got to lose? I know Ancelotti doesn't really like trusting these lads, but you've given so much trust to these other players, and they're just not giving you it. So I don't really know what, like you say, what Gordon Onyango. If you took Gomez and Sigurdsson now for them two and brought Gordon and Onyango on the bench, what would they do any worse?
It'd be difficult to do any worse, to be fair.
Exactly. There's not much higher expectations to meet, is there, with them two?
No, true.
So maybe just start mixing it up and just I've heard calls about Ellis Sims coming in. I mean, he should be getting there before Tosin. Yeah,
I've said that myself. I don't understand how Tosin, and not against the lad, but I just don't understand it.
It's to keep the value.
Well, yeah.
That's all. That is all it is. That is all that is. You've got, what are we on, the 9th of November? Yeah. He starts playing for Everton now. He'll be gone in January, 100%. But you can't sort of get it brands can't really go to teams and go, yeah, we've got Tosin in. They're like, well, he hasn't played for 3 or 4 months. You just don't even play him. Why do we want him?
Yeah.
It was just unfortunate that he was going to go to Palace for 20
injury,
million.
Yeah.
I mean, 20 million for Tosin. I feel like we'd have robbed him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, 20 million for him. But anyway, this happens in football. But he'll be gone. This is what I'm saying. People are moaning about Keane and Tosin, and Keane going and Tosin staying. Listen, what could they have done?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They've got probably 80 grand a week players set there in the reserves with Bolasie, Tosin and Bezic. I mean, there's nearly like 150 grand a week going on them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's just disappointing, isn't it?
Yeah, spot on.
Reality is it, everyone.
It's like a bus, mate, like an absolute bus. And I've seen a couple of people in the live comments talking about obviously Jean-Philippe Gbamin, and I've seen it on social media as well over the last few weeks or so. Carlo Ancelotti coming out a couple of weeks ago, I think it was, and saying that Jean-Philippe Gbamin should return to fitness this month. I think he even said the sort of back end to this month. So there's another option in midfield, isn't it, for somebody that could come in and maybe impact the team in a way that nobody else does.
Yeah, but you've got to be very careful with him.
Yeah, true.
Very, very, very careful with him. I want him to just be doing 20 minutes coming off the bench for the next 3 or 4 months. Because with these big injuries, there's always little niggling injuries, and he's got it. And then he's got it another one. So hopefully, just give him 20 minutes, half an hour in each game, and just gradually bring him up to speed. Because if you can get him a fully fit, there's another one. Yeah. There's another one that can sort of get replace Alan or Decore. So I forgot about it. There it is. How long's he been here now? 2 years has he been?
2 years, and I think he's played 2 games, 3 games.
Just Everton, it's just unfortunate. Yeah, well that's it. I mean, we could go buy $100 million player, and he'd be injured in the first 3 games, so we wouldn't see him.
Spot on. If
you know what I mean?
Spot on. If you're enjoying the stream, by the way, so far, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new as well. Share the stream out. I want to talk about Richarlison as well before we finish up. Cheese and Cheese, I think Godfrey and Holgate at the back could work against teams that sit back and counter-attack, but that'd be rare as we need height at the back.
Well, just on that one, he's correct, because Holgate attempted one aerial duel and he never won it. The whole game, last game.
There you go. I think as well, it would be a bit unfair to take Michael Keane out, because I think he's been playing so well.
Oh no, he's been
potentially Michael Keane and Godfrey. I don't know.
Maybe, but I wouldn't really push away from Mina and Keane at this moment in time
until Holgate's fully back to.
Yeah, I mean, or try a 3. I think Holgate would be perfect in the 3. You know the way Wolves play. That centre half on the right hand side. I think he's perfect for that role. He's just not. He's not big enough to be a centre half, but he's not small enough to be like a right wing back. You know what I mean, or a midfielder. He's in that little catchment. Yeah, he's in that catchment. But I think that 3 at the back he'd be perfect with.
Yeah, definitely spot on. We'll talk about Richarlison then before we finish up. Because in regards to the game, basically after we conceded the second goal. That was it. We didn't look like getting back into the game. Sorry, we went down the other end with 5-10 minutes to go. Created a couple. Decore put one over the bar, miss it the other, and then they went up the other end and scored with the last kick of the game. But again, Tom, this was another example of Everton missing probably our most influential, and some would say our best player in Richarlison. We didn't really talk too much about it after the Newcastle defeat, because a lot of the focus was on the fact that we missed Dean and Coleman and James and Richarlison, so it was a collective. Whereas after the Southampton game, a lot of it was that shows how important Richarlison is. And after this game, again, it's a lot of that shows how important Richarlison is, isn't it? There's just nobody really that takes the game by the scruff of the neck and just picks the ball up and thinks, I want to run at players when he's not in the team, is there? There's nobody with that confidence to think, you know what, if I hit this and it goes over the bar, I'm what? But I could hit it and it goes top corner, and then, we're 1-0 up. I don't know whether it's a confidence thing or it's just the type of player he is, but If these 3 games have taught us anything, it's that he is absolutely instrumental to Everton Football Club.
Yeah, I mean, you're totally right. I think the worrying thing about Everton now, we're slowly becoming a one-man team, aren't we? And it's absolutely deafening when he comes out of the side and we lose 3 on the bounce.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't, like, if I'm standard corrected, I don't think, I seen a stat the other day, I don't think we've won a game when he hasn't played.
In the Premier League. I think we've 8 or 9 games and we haven't won one.
Yeah, that is worrying. And if you can replace a player like that, or at least get the profile, this is what I'm saying about, like, Walcott. Walcott would have been, I mean, we can lambash Walcott and all that, but he's playing really well at Southampton. Yeah. He's that direct player, and he that sort of puts into the defenders' doubts in their heads whether to go. Listen, when you watch Everton and he's playing Andre Gomez and Sigurdsson up front, listen, defenders love it when the play's in front of them. They love it when they're square on, looking at everything, they can see everything. There's no danger whatsoever. This is what I'm saying. Richarlison brings everything that you want: directness, dribbling ability. He can hold the ball up on the wing.
Yeah.
He's like a target man on the wing. He brings that. He's brilliant in the air. He creates his own chances, and he's always in the box. Yeah. I mean, theoretically, he should have about 5 goals so far this season, shouldn't he?
Yeah.
So he's a massive loss. And listen, I would not be surprised him coming back and we win 3 on the bounce. Yeah. It would not put it past them.
Well, we need it, don't we? We absolutely need it. And you're right there about Walcott. Walcott mightn't have the quality that Richarlison has, or he mightn't have the ability, but he's definitely got the directness, and he definitely will run at players, and he's got the energy to hurt players. And sometimes that's all you need. You know, sometimes all you need is players that are going to run at the opposition and, you know, tire them for the entire game. If you've not got that, the opposition defence is going to have an easy game, and you know, they're not going to struggle very much. And Man United are a team as well that, if you run at and if you get at them, they struggle, don't they? They make mistakes. They collapse defensively.
Yeah, I mean, just on Calvert-Lewin, I didn't think he played enough on Lindelof.
Yeah.
I thought he had his number all day, and I don't think we really focused on that. He was switching between Maguire. Just leave Maguire to let him do what he wants to do, and just focus. He had Lindelof on toes on most cases. He was beating him in the air and everything. Yeah. So I didn't really think we sort of picked at that hole too many times. And listen, on Richarlison, he's a superstar, isn't he? And we're going to be very fortunate to keep him next summer, because there will be teams all over the place after this COVID thing and all that's finished, and they've got money to go for. They're going to be all over him.
Yeah.
And it's how can we stop him from going? And what can we give him? What can we sort of show him? I mean, the only good thing is that he loves the club. I think he really does it. I think he's totally embraced what Everton's all about. And so maybe you give him captaincy next season. I think he's got that sort of attitude to carry us. I think he's that type of player who will go up another level in his attitude if you did give him that responsibility.
Yeah. Spot on. And Cheese and Cheese makes a fantastic comment. He says, I don't think it's just the fact that we're missing Richarlison himself, just the way he impacts a game. He runs at players like no one else does. The defenders back off him and create space. Simple as. You're spot on. You know, we spoke about it, didn't we, after Southampton? It's not just what Richarlison brings individually, it's what he brings to everybody else, and how his game affects everybody else. And without that, everybody else struggles, as shown. James struggles without him there. Dominic Calvert-Lewin massively struggles without him there. Defensively, Luka Dean struggles because he hasn't got that work rate defensively. So we need to bounce back, don't we? Obviously, there's an international break now. A couple of weeks off for the lads, and then we come back with 3 games. I think we play Fulham, Leeds, and I can't remember who the third one is, but 3 winnable games. And like you said, Tom, we almost need to go out and win all 3, don't we, and get back onto sort of, you know, a good run of form.
Yeah, I mean, the confidence that it brings now is that he is back. Richarlison is back. Yeah. So that's a massive thing. Now, is James Rodriguez, is that Colombian side? He's in it, isn't he?
He's in it, yeah. Him and Yerry Mina are both in it.
Yeah, see, that's an issue for me. I mean, I'd like, if he has got an issue, then I'd like to not see him play or start. I mean, or give him 20 minutes maybe, but it's tough when you idle of the whole country and you're not playing, is it? You know what I mean? So that's another one. I think Alan as well, isn't he? Is he away at Brazil?
Yeah, he got called up because of Fabinho's injury as well.
Yeah, so he's another one that I think Alan. I think he picked up a little knock. I can't remember what game it was, but I don't
Brighton.
think he. Yeah, and since then he's just. I don't know. It's like he's struggling.
Yeah.
You can just tell it with some players that the dealing with something like his running just seems to be off.
Yeah.
His whole persona seems to be off. So yeah, but is Richarlison in that Brazil team?
I think he is. Yeah. I'm
Is
pretty
he?
sure he
Well,
is.
that might be a good thing to just get him a few games and that going on. But listen, you've got Fulham away. I mean, surely to God we've been that. I mean,
Yeah.
to be serious questions asked if we go get beat by them or.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if fucking Luchman goes and puts it top in
On a penalty,
you know what
last
I mean?
minute.
Well, that's it, isn't it? I mean, players come in, never scored a Premier League goal, and they always seem to get one against Everton to start it off, don't they? Cavani done it.
Yeah.
Lads come back and just bury us, don't they? So, I mean, after that shambolic pen, I wouldn't be surprised if he turns up. But listen, we've got to go beat Fulham.
Yeah, spot on.
Got to. I mean, you've got Leeds after that home. Listen, Leeds have been getting the big hype job at the moment, haven't they? But they're absolutely hopeless defensively. Yeah. So I'd hopefully we go and beat them. And you've got Burnley. And listen, if you don't go and beat them 3 or at least get 7 points out of them 3, you're going into a Chelsea, Leicester, Arsenal.
Yeah.
Arsenal run and then you've got United quarter-final, Carling Cup at home. Maybe we go and beat them. Maybe we take that win back. Yeah. I mean, I'd happily take a semi-final at this moment in time. I mean, what would you think? Would you be happy with a final in 8th, 10th this season?
I'd be happy winning it an 8th, 10th.
That's what I'm saying. Would you be happy with coming 6th or 7th and no trophy?
No, I'd rather win it and come 8th, 9th, 10th. I think we needed to win a trophy desperately, and you know what? I think you're right. I think, like you said, it's important that we bounce back, and the United game's a big chance to go out and get some redemption as well. And if you beat them, you're in the semi-final of a cup competition. And on the face of it, you look at the last 3 games and you think, the form is bad and it's been a rocky couple of games, but still 4 wins, 3 losses, still in and around the top 7. Beat Spurs away from home. We've had a decent start, other than the last 3 games, which have been clear that they've been impacted because of the lack of Richarlison, and not just Richarlison, but what taking Richarlison out means to the whole system and the way in which we play and the tactics that Carlo Ancelotti employs. So
it's just like if I said to you at the start of the season, regardless of how we started or not, on 8 games in we'll be 7th, would you be happy with it?
Yeah, I'd probably take it. I'd probably take it definitely with a quarter final of a cup. Yeah.
Would you be happy if I said you were only 3 points off Champions League spots?
Yeah, definitely.
It's all how it pans out. Yeah, we've got to sort of have some realisation. Everton are going to get beat. They're going to get beat a lot more times. It's just the fact that we won 5 games on the bounce. If we'd have won 2, lost 2, and then won another 2, anyway, you'd have some sort of reality check and think, and sort of have this thing go, well, we are doing all right. But listen, 8 games in, 13 points, I'm happy with it with 3 points off Champions League. Yeah. I mean, it could go one way or the other, but let's hope that we're in a better position come after in the next 3 games after Burnley away.
Yeah, spot on.
And we're going. Listen, if you get 7 points out of them 3 games, you're back in the mix.
Yeah. Easily, especially with the form of teams around us, they'll drop points as well. It's not just Everton that are dropping points. Arsenal drop points at the weekend.
If you look at Leicester, they lost against West Ham 3-0 and they lost against Villa 1-0.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, all right, they're done. They're out of it. They're top now.
Yeah.
So, and they've only lost 1 game more than us. I mean, we've won 4 and we've drawn 1, but they've won 6. That's what I'm saying. Forget draws. If you go lose a game and then go win 1, that's better.
Yeah.
That's just mathematically better. So, listen, it's all a part of football, and listen, you'll get more. Everton fans will get more of an idea where they're going to come after Christmas.
Yeah.
you'll get a rough idea where you're going to come. Because listen, we're famous to finish well, aren't we? We always are.
Yeah, spot on.
So if you could sort of be in around it, like better than what Marco Silva was last year, and Ancelotti
It's an
can
improvement.
sort of. It's a massive thing, you know.
Yeah,
massive.
Definitely. Improvement is what's needed, and we probably did fall into the, oh my god, could it be possible at the start of the season? But realistically,
Yeah. Listen, we were all like that.
That's it.
But this is what Everton do to you, don't they?
That's it.
When a little bit of hope, you just get that tiny bit of hope, and
baseball battered.
Well, you just love coming in with that big hammer and slamming it down.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's not that we're not used to, is it, as Evertonians, to be fair?
No. Well, listen. If Ancelotti can go win the Carling Cup, I use it, but Carabao Cup, that
big statement.
That's massive. Yeah. That's such a mentality shift at the club. It would be unbelievable.
Yeah. Spot on. I agree, and it's very, very possible. Let's just put these 3 games behind us. Put those 3 results behind us. Another international break now. Come back stronger, and let's hopefully come back in the same form as we were prior to the last international break, and including obviously the cup quarter-final against Manchester United. Anyway, we'll finish it up there then. If you have enjoyed the stream, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. If you're new to the channel as well, don't forget to subscribe. Once again, a big thanks to Tom for joining us today. You can find Tom's Twitter in the description down below. Go over, drop him a follow, get involved with his social medias, of course. Once again, a massive thanks to everybody for getting involved in the live comments. If you're watching the YouTube video, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below, and we will get involved with as many of them as possible. Tom, anything to say, mate, before we finish up?
Just let's stay positive.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 3 bad games, but we're going to have our best players back for the next 3 now. So once they start firing, hopefully Rodriguez coming back fully fit, I wouldn't worry too much about him. Listen, this year is Ancelotti's first full season.
Full year, yeah.
If he comes in that top 7, made up, and if he wins a cup, even better. But until we get rid of all the shite, pardon me, but until we get rid of all that, then there's no real sort of realistic hope I have of Everton competing with the top 6.
Yeah, spot on.
So, but let's hope we go beat Fulham.
Yeah. That's the next.
That's all we got beat Fulham.
That's the next thing, and take it game by game, and then
chill out now. Chill out now. We've got 2 weeks. Chill out.
I know. Put your feet up.
We can't do much in quarantine at the moment, can we? So just chill out and just let's hope we go and beat them. If we go and beat Fulham, the whole mood changes, doesn't it? And I wouldn't put the money on the Richarlison hat-trick.
Yeah, and lifts his shirt up saying, "I'm never making another challenge ever again."
Yeah.
And everyone's just, I just hope they say to that lad, don't hit the floor.
No, let's hope he scores at hat-trick, lifts his top up, and there's a picture of Balassi and his pom-poms and that.
There you go. What a way to end it. Balassi and his skirt and his pom-pom. What a way to end it. Listen, if you have enjoyed it, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. Listen, we have to stay positive. We will bounce back, and it's been a fantastic start to the season. And, the fact that we're very disappointed at the past 3 results just shows how well we played at the start of the season, really. It's not like we're in the bottom 3 and we're fighting for our lives. We're still right up there in a couple of wins, and we're right back at the top. And other teams will lose as well. Big thanks for watching. If you have enjoyed it, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. Like I said, big thanks to Tom. We'll be back on Wednesday, 5:15 for another live stream. Big thanks for watching. Massive thanks to everybody in the live comments. Semi says Balassi's Pons. He says take care, Eugene. He also says take care. DG says Carlo has to sort out the defence. Sometimes you play great and don't score, but playing bad and score. Good defence is very important. Spot on. And Semi says good to see you all. Have a good evening. And Wayne says take care, guys. Thank you very much. Big thanks for watching. Leave a like if you've enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you soon. There we go. I think